The Casting of Frank Stone. What a fucking shitty game. Okay, to be perfectly honest, it's not shitty. Okay, it's just super fucking average. You can kind of compare it to The Quarry, which was also done by Supermassive Games. You can kind of compare it to Medal of Man. I think it's called Medal of Man, which is also done by Supermassive Games. So Supermassive Games, from when Until Dawn came out, they kind of just um, excuse me, they kind of like only made I I I. I don't even want to call them visual novels because they're not visual novels. They're like very story-driven games, very story-intensive games, and because those games don't have a lot of gameplay, right? The gameplay there's nothing to sink your teeth into the gameplay, right? There's nothing going on. So with a game like this, you need a good story, and this game, uh, it's uh, you know, it's, it's not that good of a story, right? And that's kind of a problem because if the story's not good, the game doesn't have any redeeming factors, right? There's yeah, it's like a bad movie you watch. What? Right? Why would I watch a bad movie? Why would I watch an average movie? Just to I mean, I guess boredom is a good enough reason for that, but I can just pirate a fucking movie online, just go on one of a million websites and watch that for free. But this game costs $40 fucking dollars. $40 for this game. It's definitely not worth it. Um, I I'd put the price point of this game on like $15, maybe 10 to 15, I'd say. Um, so what's going on in this game? So you start off as Sam Green. It's gonna be a kind of a spoiler review, so bear with me. Um, so you start off the game as Sam Green. I'm not sure if you see him in this trailer. Um, by the way, the trailer for this game was absolutely phenomenal. I really like the trailer. I like the music. I think David Kushner is the guy who sang it. Daylight, the song is called. Really good trailer. Like the visuals in this trailer are really good. Like just look at this. This looks phenomenal. This looks really good. So everybody was hyped about it, right? But trailers are you can't measure games by the trailer. It's like don't judge a book by its cover. It's the same principle, right? Um, so what happens in this game? There's a murder mill, right? There's like a steel mill in the 60s, and you as Sam Green, the dumbest fucking cop alive, actually the dumbest fucking cop alive, checks out this steel mill at night and is looking for a missing infant. Apparently there's I think the location is called Cedar Hills, if I remember correctly. So you as Sam Green check that out. You see the security. You're like, hey, dude, I want to check out the mill. Did you see anything suspicious here? And he's like, no, ain't seen nothing suspicious. He's like, the guy at the security at the steel mill is so incompetent and so fucking cute at the same time. He's it's so suspicious that he didn't notice anything suspicious and doesn't know anything about anything that's going on in there, right? As the one security guy, but yeah. So he checks around the mill. The security guy's Tom was his name, I think. Um, Tom's dog Merlin. I remember the dog. His name is Merlin. Is wandering around. It's kind of like, oh, there's a monster running around because you see the dog from first person, like you're in the first person view of the dog, and it's just a dog. It's just a Doberman. And then you would look around the mill, and then you see like a heap of flesh right there. Sorry, my PC case fucking. You see like a big chunk of flesh on the ground, and the dog's munching on it, and then you're like, oh, what the hell is this? This smells rotten. And then the Tom guy comes around the corner, sees Merlin munching on the meat, and is like, oh, Merlin, dag nabbit. He actually says that, by the way, dag nabbit, which is kind of hilarious. Um, yeah, and there's a human ear in there, and you're like, oh, what the hell, a human ear? Gotta my evidence, woo, my evidence. Um, right, and then I think you hear screams, uh, from the infant, right? And then you're like going down the storm drain, and you're like, Tom, you go to my car, take my car keys, take my only piece of evidence, right? The guy that's alone in the mill, that doesn't know anything about anything, you call for backup. I can't call for back. I can't run those 2 minutes back to the car and call for backup. No, that doesn't work. You do it. And then fucking Sam Green is the dumbest cop alive. Then he goes down the storm drain. He sees Frank Stone, this guy with this mask. His mask gets immediately knocked away from his face, right? Which I don't like. I really like this look, like the I really like the mystery. I like mysteries. What's behind the mask, right? Like Trapper in Dead by Daylight. You don't want to see the Trapper's face. That'd be stupid because the whole point of a mask is that it's terrifying. You don't want to humanize your character. If it's okay. Well, I'll get back to that. I like humanizing that. I on the point of humanizing, I'll get back on it. But in this case, you didn't want to humanize your character, so you don't show his face, but his mask gets immediately knocked over, and then he tries to he knocks Sam Green down. He's like, oh, fucking. Smashes him against the wall. A steel pipe comes out of comes out of the shoulder of Sam Green's shoulder. Um, and then Sam Green is, oh no, my shoulder hurts and I'm stuck to the wall and blah blah blah. And then Frank Stone stands above like a big cauldron with a lot of magma in it, well, a hot cauldron, steel mill, right, where steel is being melted, and tries to throw the infant in there for some reason. We never find out why. Well, in my playthrough, I didn't. Maybe the infant was important. I don't know. I never found any evidence that it would. Nobody ever cared about the infant. Sam Green appears later in the game. Also doesn't care about the infant. What happened to him? It would have been cool, like to see the infant, like the grown child, or in the game, right? Like 60 years after, because this happens in the 1960s, right? And there's a second timeline, but I'll get to that. Um, so yeah, then he shoots Frank Stone, and Frank Stone falls into the big cauldron with all the melting metal, and that's it. That's the first chapter, and it's so stupid. It was so slow. The pacing of this game is so fucking bad because you follow multiple characters. You need good pacing in games. What happens in this game a lot of times is that something super exciting happens and super interesting happens, and then it cuts away, and it's so unsatisfying because then you're like, oh, I gotta play through this boring chapter now. This is uninteresting. Why can I not go back to the other chapter and see what's happening there? You eventually go there, right? But it's pacing, right? It's not paced well. It's not paced well at all. Um, so about the different timeline. So there's two timelines here. The thing, so that was the intro. That was like 20 years before the 1960s or whatever. No. It was 1960s that happened. And then there's these four people. I can't remember their names for the life of me. Can you see them here somewhere? Um, yeah, here. So come on, video. Right, you have Linda, you have Jaime, you have Charlie, and you have this. This is the son of the cop, something Green, Robert, I think his name is. So and these four are making a movie, right? They're like, oh, we want to make a movie, and then it comes out, oh my God, there was this big serial killer here, and nobody of them, well, Linda knew, Jaime knew, Charlie didn't. So they were filming a movie without ever talking about the murder that happened there, which is what? How have you never, like, everybody acts so surprised and hush hush about it when they talk about it, right? Oh, there was this big murder there. Oh my god, have you heard about that? Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. And nobody ever, like, it seems like it's the first conversation they ever had about this, right? The first conversation ever. And it's just strange. Like, the dialogue in that scene was not good. Like, and then they're like, "Oh, we gotta go," because they got kicked out of the mill before by Sam Green, the cop that shot Frank Stone. They got kicked out of the mill, and they were like, "Oh no, we can't finish our movie now." And then they talk about the whole murder thing. Um, yeah, right. So they never talked about what happened at the mill, and then like, "Oh, at night we go back," and then something crazy happens. The ghost of Frank Stone comes back to life. Crazy. I know, right? That's crazy. And then on the other side, you have four other people. I think four. You have like one super annoying guy who's, oh, I want money. Then you have the the daughter of Bonnie, which is Jaime's sister. Jaime is this one, so he has a sister that's not in the shot. Um, yeah, and that happens in the other timeline, 2024, right? And it's so exhausting to go back. Like, some super cool stuff happens in the 80s or 1960s, whatever, with these four characters, right? But it's like intertwined, right? It's nah, nah. You know what I would have liked? You know what I would have liked? I would have liked the story of Frank Stone to be about humanizing the killer, because we know from Dead by Daylight that some killers get chosen by the entity and they have no choice in the matter. Because if you look at this last shot, he looks so, I don't know, man. He looks so sad. No, he looks so angry and sad, and I just thought they do something with the Frank Stone character, but no, he's just a he's just a horror movie villain, right? It's so boring. There's no substance to this, right? If you want your game or movie to succeed, you need to have a good villain. A good villain is what makes a good well, not a good villain. Like, a fleshed out antagonist is what's important here. And I thought it would be about him having to murder all these people, um, even though he doesn't want to. Maybe he got chosen by the entity. Maybe the entity was like, oh, I want you to kill for me, and he's like, no, I don't want to do that, and then the entity forces him to. There would have been so many interesting dynamics with this, where he's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I don't want to do this, and he does it anyway, because he has to. It would have been there would have been actual substance to this, but instead it's just about people surviving, which I guess is fair, but the story was not worth being told. I'm sorry. There's a lot of cute DBD references in this, which is like, haha, I get this. This is from the video game. Haha. Sure. It's on the same level of Marvel cameos, right? No, actually not. It's actually worse. It's actually worse because you find like relics, right, which are add-ons in DBD, and you find puppets of the killers, which have nothing to do with the story. Nothing. It's just a stupid collectible. I thought maybe like there's this Augustine character who's like the big bad, right? After Frank Stone, because she's trying to revive Frank Stone and get him into the timeline of 2024. I thought she's like a collector or something, and she has like the huntress mask, the trapper masks. She has like a bunch of stuff from the video game, but it serves no purpose other than being like, oh, 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 right? It's so boring. It's so boring. It would have been cool if she would have been like watching the trials from TBD. I look. I don't want to. I don't want to give BHVR and Supermassive ideas, right? Uh, but I'm like, dude, guys, you can do better than this. You can do way better than this. I'm just so disappointed. Um, yeah. I mean, the collectibles, and it would have been cool to find out more about Augustine. Like, why does she want because she wants the world to be devoured by the entity and sets up the trial and wants Frank Stone to be the killer. But why? Why? I guess she wants knowledge from the entity. I it's so hard to talk about this, man. It's so nah. It's do I have anything else left to say? I don't think I do. Um, yeah, I just bad characters, mediocre writing, cool visuals. There's a lot of little bugs in the game, like when you, for instance, pick up sheet of paper, it's like snaps back into your hand. Jumping down things is really clunky. The movement is super slow and sluggish. I don't like that at all. Like the little gameplay it has, it's not great. Um, Um, yeah, just mediocre. 5.5 out of 10. I Let me think. Do I have anything else to say? Um, no, I don't think so. Yeah, there's this cutting room feed. Oh yeah, the optimization sucks ass. It's really bad. I have a 3080 and could barely get 60 FPS on low to medium settings. Barely 60 FPS. Like the optimization nowadays, companies like video game companies rely on DLSS to do the optimization for them, and yeah, it's just not even DLSS could save that. It's really bad. Like I have a 5800X and the 3080 and barely 60 FPS on a game like that. There's not even anything in the environment that would where it would be like, oh yeah, okay, I get why I can barely get 60 FPS. No, fuck you. Yeah, technically also not great. Yeah, those are my thoughts on uh, on Frank Stone. He looks cool in the end. He doesn't look like this. He looks like this maybe like 10 minutes of the game. Not even 5 minutes of the game. In the end, he looks also very cool, but yeah, I would have just liked humanizing the character a little bit and fleshing him out. Well, uh, that's about it. I'll see you around. Bye bye.